Hello everyone, this is Piyush. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's look at how to get started with your tax filing as an international student in the US. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. Tax filing might seem like a complicated topic, especially as a student. Like back in India, I wasn't even used to how the taxes are filed. It was mostly done by my dad with the help of a CA. But only after coming to the US, I realized like how the taxes are filed. I was always interested in the topics such as personal finance, tax or money or anything relating to investing. So this is how I got started in this topic, and I just tried to research some websites, some university websites, the official government websites, to try to figure out how the taxes work. And surprisingly, the tax filing here, especially as a student, is not that difficult. There is a set process. There are a fixed set of forms that you need to file every year. Just the tax year changes and some of the amounts might change, but mostly the structure for tax filing as an international student is quite the same. So in this video, I will try to give you a breakdown to help you at least get started with your tax filing, and then you can figure out whether it's your individual state taxes, federal taxes in some different videos. I've already made a video on how to file your federal taxes for free if you don't have any agent or any software with you. I have also made a video on how to file your federal taxes if your university provides a Glacier software. I have also made a video on state taxes such as Indiana and California, because this is where I have earned my income, so I know exactly how to file or how I filed my state taxes in these states. I have also been reached out by many people across the states in the US such as Wisconsin, Ohio, Arizona, California or other states in the US, and my vision in the coming years is to try to cover every state taxes in the US. We have around 50 states in the US, out of which I think 6 or 7 states don't have any income tax, but all the remaining ones, that's around 44 or 43 states, I will try to cover the state tax filing for each of them, especially as an international student in the US. But now let's look at how you can get started with your tax filing in the US. So the deadline for tax filing in the US is usually around 15th to 18th April of each year, and the financial year is calculated from 1st January to 31st of December, which is different from countries such as India, where the tax filing or the financial year is from 1st April to 31st March. As an international student, you should most probably be on your F-1 visa. Then the first step in your tax filing is knowing which visa you are on, and second is determining the residency for tax purposes. So coming to the federal taxes, which is, you can consider it as a central government. For federal taxes, you are considered a non-resident alien for the first 5 years in the US. There's a substantial presence test which is followed, that is only considered after you spend 5 years in the US or unless you get stamped for your H-1B visa. So if you have spent less than 5 years in the US as an international student on your F-1 visa, you are considered a non-resident alien for tax purposes. And this step is really important because the forms for tax filing changes based on your residency. For example, for federal taxes, if you are a non-resident alien, the main form to file is Form 1040NR, whereas if you are a resident for tax purposes, the main form is Form 1040. So which is why this step is really important. After you are done with determining your residency for tax purposes, the next step is to gather all the income documents that you had from 1st Jan to the 31st December of that financial year. Now there might be a set of people who didn't earn any income in any given financial year. Let's say you started in fall 2024, you came to the US in August 2024 and you didn't earn any income up to 31st December 2024. In that case, you still need to file a form 8843. This is not a tax form, this is a visa compliant form that is to be filed by each and every F-1 visa student. So make sure you do that even if you didn't earn any income. Many students are not aware that even if they don't earn any income, they still have to file a form with the IRS. IRS stands for Internal Revenue Service, which is a body that handles federal taxes. So if you didn't earn any income in any given financial year, file the form 8843 with the IRS and you should be good for your tax filing for that year. Now, if you come in a set of people that earned income in any given financial year, let's say you worked part-time in your university, you did an internship, or let's say even full-time. So all the income that you earn from your job, that is considered in your W-2 income. So you get a W-2 form from your employer in the January or February of the following year. Let's say you earned income in the year 2024, then you get a W-2 form in January or February 2025. So you have to collect all your income documents before you start your tax filing. The main form is, as I mentioned, W-2, but there might be other types of incomes as well, such as say scholarship or you had any interest income, dividend income. So there are separate tax forms for that. If you get a scholarship or some awards from the university, you will most probably get a form 1042S. And if you received any interest or dividend income, you should go to your broker. For example, let's say you invested in stocks using Robinhood, so you will go to that app, go to the tax document section and pull up the tax records. Again, the tax documents are usually released by the month of January or February or March at max. Now that you know your residency for tax purposes, and now that you have gathered all your income documents, the next step is to just fill out the forms. That is not in the scope of this video, because this video is only to give you a framework of how the taxes work. You can refer the other videos on my channel to see how exactly the forms are filled out, but this video is specifically only to give you a path to follow for your tax filing. Now let's say you are done with your federal taxes, you have filed it by yourself, filed it using a software or any agent. Now the next step is to determine if you are liable to pay any state taxes. The first step is to understand where you earn your income from. If you earn your income in a state which is tax exempt, you don't need to file any state taxes. Like, half of your headache would be gone. But if you fall in any of the states not listed here, you have to make sure you file the state taxes correctly and fill out the correct forms. So again, the first step for state taxes is to determine your residency for tax purposes. An important thing to note is that even if you are considered a non-resident alien for federal tax purposes, you can be considered a resident for state tax purposes. Each state in the US has their own way to determine residency for tax purposes, so make sure you go to the official state government website and see if you are considered a non-resident or resident for tax purposes specifically for that state. Now that you have determined your residency for state tax purposes, the next step is to fill out all the relevant forms. You can go to the state government website, see the instructions and do it yourself. You can go with any paid software or paid agent and they can fill the state forms for you. So these are the main type of taxes that you need to fill as an international student. The first is federal taxes and the second is respective state taxes. Now there might be a set of people who had social security and Medicare taxes cut from their pay. If you fall in this category, you have to file a separate set of forms, because we as an international student on our F-1 visa are not liable to pay the social security and Medicare taxes. These taxes are only to be paid by us if we get on an H-1B visa. Sometimes our employers don't know our residency status, that's why they cut the social security and Medicare taxes. But don't worry, all the taxes that were cut for social security and Medicare as an international student on F-1 visa, you can get everything in refund, but you have to file two separate forms, that is form 843 and form 8316 with the IRS, and you will get all the refund back in your bank account. There's another way. If you don't want to go with the IRS, you can contact the employer directly stating that you as an F-1 student are not liable to pay the social security taxes, so please refund me back the money. Sometimes the employer might be ready to give it back in your bank account, but if they say that, oh, we can't do it, it's already too late, then you need to go with the IRS and fill out these forms to get back the refund. So that's mostly it for your tax filing as an international student in the US. If your tax situation is more complicated, let's say you had a lot of types of incomes or some income that I didn't classified in this video, you can go to any paid agent or tax professional, but in 90 or 95% of the cases, this video should be sufficient to give you a framework on how the taxes work for an international student in the US. The main steps are to first determine your tax residency, then fill out all the relevant forms, follow the same steps for the states that you worked in, then see if any social security tax was withheld from your income. If not, then that's a good thing, you don't need to worry about it. But if it was deducted, then it's your job to get back the refund by filing the required form. If you didn't earn any income in the financial year, you still need to file the form 8843, so make sure you do that. Share this video with as many people as possible who are in the US for their studies, for their bachelor's or master's, to make sure they are aware about the tax filing, because as an international student who just came from their country, it's very difficult to wrap your head around how the taxes work in the US. But once you have a framework, once you know the steps, it's kind of repetitive and you just have to get the relevant forms, fill out the correct numbers, do some basic mathematics, additions and subtractions. Please feel free to refer my other videos to see how the federal taxes are filled or how the state taxes are filled. Comment down if you have any questions for me. I'm not a tax professional, but I will try to help you in the best way I can. Like and subscribe my channel if you find my content useful. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.